In Defense of Elitism, 1994, by Pulitzer Prize-winning arts critic William A. Henry III, is a provocative examination of the shift in American political culture. Henry contends that the nation has abandoned the principle of equality of opportunity, what he terms elitism, in favor of striving for equality of outcome, which he refers to as egalitarianism. This shift, he argues, has led to an erosion in the recognition of merit, the superiority of certain achievements, and the value of intelligence over stupidity, as well as an inability to discern the merits of some cultures over others. He advocates for a restoration of balance, urging the positive aspects of egalitarianism, such as tolerance, to be paired with the intellectual rigor of elitism, which allows for accepting diversity while maintaining core values. The book has sparked both acclaim and controversy. Supporters have praised Henry for challenging liberal orthodoxies, with Publishers Weekly noting his willingness to debunk conventional wisdom. Critics, however, have highlighted what they see as selective reasoning, flawed logic, and inflammatory rhetoric. Henry introduces the work by clarifying his liberal credentials, differentiating himself from reactionary voices that might echo similar arguments for less noble purposes. "I am fully aware," he writes, "that much of what I deplore as retrograde tribalism or wrong-headed moralism is regarded by large sectors of the population as progress. I am also painfully conscious that taking the postures I do may condemn me to accommodating some pretty strange bedfellows, racists, male supremacists, patriotic zealots, reactionaries, religious exotics, and assorted other creeps. I confess to being a white Ivy-educated male who is married and lives in the suburbs, in kind of a nice house actually. Yet I am not a right-winger, and I hope I am not a nut. I am still a registered Democrat." From this foundation, Henry critiques social programs aimed at addressing inequality, such as affirmative action, which he argues have evolved into permanent advantages for their beneficiaries rather than temporary measures to dismantle barriers to success. According to Henry, these programs have transformed into entitlements that diminish incentives for individual excellence among minority groups. He extends this critique to the broader cultural arena, claiming that an overemphasis on multiculturalism fosters a similar dynamic, diluting the pursuit of merit and superior achievement. William A. Henry III acknowledges the importance of recognizing the contributions of diverse cultural groups to American culture, but criticizes what he sees as excessive and illogical defenses of minority cultures that, in his view, do not contribute equally to the national culture. He examines American political history to trace the roots of the cultural and societal decline he identifies. Contrary to the popular perception of American democracy as inherently egalitarian, Henry argues that the nation's political system has always been intrinsically elitist. He highlights the consistent failure of populist presidential candidates and asserts that elected officials have historically been unrepresentative of the norm by virtue of superior talent, intellect, and drive. He describes the presidency as a living symbol of meritocracy. Henry contrasts this tradition with the rise of governance through town hall meetings and collective decision-making, which he criticizes for diffusing accountability and leaving citizens with no one to hold responsible. Henry applies a similar critique to the history of American education, arguing that the democratization of higher education has been a misguided experiment. He claims that universities, once dedicated to cultivating the potential of an elite, now primarily serve to validate the privilege of those who would succeed, regardless of circumstances. Degrees, he argues, have become a reward simply for having shown up, rather than a marker of true intellectual achievement. In Henry's view, the media also contribute to the dumbing of America. He laments that modern media elevate undistinguished celebrities while sidelining science and reason. He is particularly critical of the influence of egalitarianism in the arts, arguing that the National Endowment for the Arts diminishes standards by equating the merits of quilt weaving with opera, folk festivals with Shakespeare, and by implying that these activities are of equivalent value, leaving personal taste as the only differentiator. As a remedy, Henry proposes a return to traditional values rather than a radical new approach. He advocates for restoring the balance between elitism and egalitarianism, emphasizing equality of opportunity and individual responsibility. By doing so, he believes America can reclaim its greatness and preserve its tradition of excellence in a rapidly changing global landscape. To speak in defense of elitism is not to tilt the balance of national life, he writes, but to seek to restore it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.